Good afternoon, everybody. It is Steve with Real Progressives. It's an impromptu stream. How are you all doing today? Today, we're going to talk about, for most of us, we've driven around and we've seen everybody wants to be the king of their own world. Nobody wants to be told what to do. Nobody wants to have to, join up with somebody. Nobody wants to be boxed in. We are in a position right now where rugged individualism, which is what has driven America into the ground, is what is also going to keep us from being able to adapt in time to meet the needs of climate change and other major issues that we've got going on in our lives, right, and around our world. This idea of rugged individualism and this idea of being fiercely independent has created such a situation that the idea of uniting, before we even have a chance to do anything, we've already torn it apart. Every single time, if it isn't perfect right up front, we tear it apart. The other side doesn't have to do anything. They sit back and they go like this. They watch, and there it is. Self-defeating, destructive, destroyers, all having a better idea than the other guy, all thinking they've got the answers, and all tearing each other apart, pulling the crabs back into the barrel. I'm not one of these people that says stronger together. I'm not one of these people that's dem-enter. I'm not sitting there pumping, these party alliances and allegiances and stuff. I'm all about the issues, and I'm all about the truth. But I can tell you, we have a situation. Recent reports show that we've got less than 10 years to really make drastic changes to the environment, to the climate, to address climate change. We've got really less than 10 years. And quite frankly, it looks like that could even be just to make it so that it isn't too bad, the destruction that comes. Think about that for a minute. We've known forever that something was happening. We've known forever that there was going to be these problems. And we still haven't really done anything about it at all. We talk about it, we post about it, we live stream about it, but we haven't really done anything about it at all. And, the thing is that we've been fighting an economic war, explaining how economics works on one side, and folks don't see the tie-in with the environment. They don't realize that they're a one-for-one match. They're literally locked hand in hand. On one hand, economics is the equitable distribution or the efficient distribution or simply the distribution of real resources. And on the other hand, the environment is suffering because we are poorly distributing, destroying the natural resources that we have in this country. Now, we can all sit there and say we're doing something, we're trying to do something, we're trying to cut our consumption. Folks, it's not going to happen that way. That's not even going to make a dent in it. I mean, it's good, it's great to try and do things, but it takes more than one person doing something like this, because the smokestacks that produce things, the big agriculture that's pumping out not horrible amounts of methane gases, all the different production throughout the society is pushing that stuff in there. We can certainly reduce our consumption, but there are really serious things that we can do to address it within the 10-year period. We can. And we have to be able to stop being so fiercely cynical, so fiercely independent that we can't hear the methods and the techniques of getting there. I know it feels good because it's like, God, we're so powerless, right? We feel so utterly powerless to do anything about these things by ourselves. So we come up with, let's march, man. Let's go ahead and start driving one day a week less. Let's do all these things that'll maybe make a dent. Maybe they won't make a dent. I don't know. I'm not here to tell you not to lead a efficient life. But I am here to tell you that the federal government, of all the entities that has power, real, genuine power, to make the impacts that we need. If we understood the power of our federal government, we have a chance, a real chance, of putting different filters, changing our energy supply, doing various serious things right here, right now. And we wouldn't be worried about who gets over, who gets a little extra money out of it or whatever. We'd be worried about keeping the planet sustainable. Because the real thing that's going to kill us first is the fact that our planet can't sustain life at the clip it's doing. It's going to end up purging us, purging the cancer that is humanity from its existence. And if we don't get on board and understand how to advance legislation and how to bond together to push for the right things, if all we're doing is running around angry with signs in our hands, we're not going to make the kind of change we need. And we're certainly not going to make it in the time frame we need to make it in. You know, earlier today, I was trying to explain this to somebody. We have a system, a monetary system in place today that can do everything we need it to do. People just don't understand it. Because they don't understand it, they start writing hieroglyphics in caves to explain it. And they start telling stories at the fire pit as they're sitting there sparking some flint to try and get the fire going. They make up stories. And these stories become the stories that everyone retells. And then they get bastardized the further out you go. That storyline, that method of communication is failing us miserably. It's failing us miserably. We've got to really take and understand the power that we have to impact climate change. I can think of a million reasons why we need to know this stuff, but I can't think of one greater right now than our planet. Florida, you're going to feel it soon if you don't get on board. If y'all don't start figuring out that the government is not in debt to itself. When government sells bonds payable only in the currency it creates from scratch, it's not in debt, folks. Until you understand that and realize that it can pay to do all this stuff for the environment, to change us to green energy. How subsidize these places? I don't care. Do whatever you've got to do. I want my kids to have a planet to survive on. There is no planet B. There is no planet B. But every time we bring this stuff up, just earlier today, the Green Party put out a tweet, and it was talking about how we have less than 10 years to go. Oh my God, the time is now. And then I hearken to remind them that when their national delegation voted this year, their national delegation voted that we don't have sovereign currency, that we can't do these things because we got to pay down the national debt. And we've got to go ahead and end the Fed. And we've got to create some fake sovereign currency and end fractional reserve banking and all this other bullshit and green the dollar before we can actually impact the climate. Do you understand? Our movement has got to be smarter than that. There can't be any more air cover for really stupid ideas. We don't have time. Not all ideas are created equal. And we cannot allow people to mislead us any longer. We don't have time for that. We don't have time to bring down the system and then rebuild the system and then remake it in our image system, etc. We have got to actually take the time to learn, unite, and then take direct action. We've got too many scattered singles. Too many people playing with dollar bills instead of 20s and 100s. We have got to take this knowledge before it's too late. It really is that big a deal right now, folks. 10 years. 10 years. That's what we got. And it could be less than that. And quite frankly, we may have already passed an event horizon. Can you imagine? We may have already passed an event horizon. Folks, we have the power to fix this. We have to get past this whole idea of rugged individualism. And we've got to, folks, I'm begging you, we have got to stop allowing conspiracy peddlers. And I'm not talking about people that are critical thinkers. I'm talking about the ones that make up these stupid stories about debt and deficits that keep us trapped and prisoners. The fake ones, the prison planet, we've been in prison since the Federal Reserve. Those people, we gotta blow past them. We gotta blow past them, folks. They're literally killing us. Maybe not intentionally, but the result is the same. That stuff keeps us from focus. It keeps us from being effective. And by extension, ends up terminating our existence. These sidebars, these rabbit holes, they're lethal when you got a 10-year clock ticking. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives, hoping you start learning MMT and stop being so damn ruggedly individualistic that you can't work with others to make shit happen. For our children's lives, for all of our lives, have a great day, everyone.